Do the Night Elves just fucking like between vanilla and now just completely dissipate in their power and coolness? Like I used to think Night Elves were like the coolest things, and then just fucking some bitch comes by with with a torch and everything's just destroyed, and the loon can't do anything, and we're fighting her like Nathanos, just some random guy who's just fighting her. Like this fucking like priestess goddess, and this Nathanos is just a freaking like ranger, a human reincarnated ranger. I don't know. It just seems like this whole lore thing just seems really fucky.
Right.
I thought the Night Elves, had some good power to them. Like Darkshore is still in ruins here. Like you'd think they would have rebuilt their one other city that they have. Like the humans have like a bunch of cities. The orcs have a bunch of cities. And the Night Elves, they have like one. And then like like this one other city that we have, Aberdeen. Well, that's
It's been fucked up since Kata.
yeah. It just there was a big wave that came and destroyed like 3 buildings. So we'll just never rebuild it. We can't. We don't have the resources or connections with the Alliance or any kind of natural resources anywhere near here to be able to rebuild. This is literally like 3 things fell over, and like right behind us is a huge forest. Like, okay, just get some lumber and just rebuild this, and like ask the land for forgiveness for harvesting its natural resources and plant some new trees around or something like that.
Right.
The thing that things that happen like after a hurricane, like America can do. I mean, look at how many Night Elves there are here. They're all just like, they're just dropping like they're the fucking droids from episode 1. Bale and everything there is level 55. And I do the same amount of damage to it, and I don't like one-shot everything there. It doesn't feel right. It felt before. It felt like, oh, I got to this zone. This means I'm a higher level. Like, oh, I'm seeing a zone I haven't been in before, or like, oh look, I'm in Western Plaguelands. Like I'm getting close to level 60 now. Shit like that. Well, it's like now it's like, oh, you're level 45.
There's too many levels, and they didn't want it to take forever for you to level, so then they made leveling faster, but then like you couldn't even finish zones before you out-leveled the zone, so that's why they did the scaling. But it's like, I guess it's just a product of how the game's really just evolved.
For the worse. Because like, it's like, does everything have to be easy now? Like, why is literally everything in the game besides Mythic rating is easy? PvE wise.
Yeah.
And like Mythic, Mythic plus 10, I guess, shit like that, like, is hard. So like, why is like everything but the very top of things easy until it's just like extremely challenging and very hard to do, which is why people like, need carries and stuff like that. It's like,
well, that's why the people who do that kind of content get mad about content like this. Like, we don't have to do shit, really.
Yeah.
And we're getting a 385 piece of gear.
And this, to us even, it's boring, it's stupid. Like, I don't want to have to do this. Like, it's just...
Oh, trust me. Oh, yeah.
Without there being like a lot of risk and stuff, and like this being hard content, that 385 piece doesn't feel rewarding to me. Like I didn't do anything to get it. Like, sure, I'll take it, but like...
And then they think about it, like we hit like a higher rating than most people with like a bad comp in 2v2, and we get rewarded with 360s out of regular draw. Like, how is that fair?
We work our ass off, and we like plan and do all these like strategic things to try and win,
right?
And our rewards is sometimes we get a piece that's worse than our current.
Than our 385 piece we're gonna get from this.
Yeah. totally.
Like it was cool that I mean, and people don't like Titan forging, but it was cool that I got a Titan Forge piece out of my last cache. That was kind of rewarding, but it's like, yeah.
It's still dumb though. Like doing MC and he finally took down Ragnaros or whatever, and he got, you know, whatever sword it was, or, you know, some weapon off of him. Say you did the same thing off of a boss today and you wanted a weapon off of it and it finally dropped or something like that, but it, well, I guess it didn't Warforge at all.
Right.
So it's just the base one, so it's not the best one, so you really didn't get the one you wanted. So it's just
Right.
like, I don't know, it's dumb. On top of it all, I hate the different difficulty levels of raids. It just waters it down. It makes too many item levels, because like the power level between somebody who just hit 120 and like me is just insane.
Right.
Like my item level on my warrior is 264. Okay? My item level on my rogue is 365. A whole 100 item levels higher.
Yeah.
And it's the same patch of release, basically. Like, of gear. Like, it just...
And that's the other reason they got to keep stat squishing.
Yeah. It's too many item level, too many difficulties.
See, if they made it to where the item levels weren't that drastically different,
then
they wouldn't have to do things like, oh, we got to give some lower people pieces of 385 basically for free because they're getting wrecked in PvP because blah, blah, blah.
Remember when I got my first piece of tier... You probably remember your first piece of tier gear in vanilla. Like, it was an awesome moment. And do you know what the item level of that was, John? The item level on Del Renz is 63. Item level 63. So then I look up something from MC. Okay, so tier 1. Okay, so John, the blue tier, I was mistaken on the thing. It's 63. Item level 63 is all the blue tier 0 sets and weapons like Dalrenz and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And your the eye patch that you had Eye of Rend.
Yeah.
All those stuff was like item level 63. Now that was blue quality and you did pretty well in it in PvP and stuff. But then like if you got like the Lobo and anything from MC, that's tier 1, stuff like that. You know the item level on that one? 66. 3 item levels higher. And that was, it felt like such an upgrade, and it was a really good upgrade because it was all relative. And it wasn't an insane jump in power level because level 6, like if a freshly dinged level 60 could still kind of compete with us if we were like, you know, fully decked out in MC gear even.
Yeah.
And that was...
They need to go back to that. And they needed to just drop this fucking talent system and rework the talent system.
3 item levels, John, between tier 0 and tier 1. So think about it right now, though. If in one tier of gear, there's 40 item levels of difference between the same tier and the same tier. And it makes it so that if you first ding 120, you have no chance in PvP. I can't do anything.
And how many months into the expansion are we?
Exactly. Remember how in vanilla when people would make PvP videos, if they were like sub level 60, they would say like, or even if they were level 60, they'd be like, look, I'm fighting a level 60. It wasn't about the guys, sure, you know, gear mattered back then, but what mattered the most was the guy's level. Like, this is a level 60, so this is, you know, I have an appropriate like expectation of how, you know, difficult it is to fight this guy.
Yeah.